if they try to tell you they have authority, that they have some say in your religious spiritual life that you don't, they're lying. If they put you in bondage to their institution, they're liars, they're wolves, they feed themselves. Nothing comes between you and him. Nothing. Not tradition, not your pastor's opinion, not the view of others. They are cowards. I call them out now. Hear how you can do this to people who need freedom.
Well, it has been 364 days tonight that we started ChristiAnarchy Today. And tonight we're going to have a special program, the one-year anniversary. Steve Utley, musician extraordinaire, is going to join me as we're just going to talk about some things relative to the title of the show, sort of. And this is a shout out to all the matriculating college, university kids out there and people who are seekers of truth, and especially to University of Michigan. Go Big Blue. Is it Big Blue or Go Blue? I was just corrected. Go Blue. Big Blue. Anyway, Steve, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
So a number of years ago, because somehow it got out that I was called a Christian anarchist, probably from the show, some guys in Seattle did this radio interview, and they called me and said, we want to interview you. And I sat in my car over the phone, and I did it with them. And they were really all about secular social anarchy as Christians. They wanted to burn the mother down.
I see.
Yeah, and they were really disappointed when we started talking, because I was like, that's not how I interpret Christian anarchy.
Yeah.
Tell us what's happened with you, what you've discovered recently about Christian anarchy and your approach to the whole thing.
Right. Well, I was in the same boat as you, and I was under the impression that Christian anarchy meant there's no authority that's above you and in between you and Christ, and it just straight to the top.
Yeah.
It's Christian anarchy. It's a spiritual and principle that is just in the religious, I guess, context. Yeah. But a lot of people, I noticed there's two camps, because there are other people that think like that too, which I found out later after what I was telling you the other day. But there's other Christian anarchists that take it to mean you're a Christian and you're also an anarchist. It's a separate thing. Oh. So they're an anarchist and they happen to be a Christian.
Oh, so
right. So they're secular anarchists or political anarchists or whatever, but they're also a Christian.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And do you have, we'll work through what you discovered, but do you know, do they have any sort of allegiance to Romans chapter 14, where Paul says obey civil authorities? And
I was thinking that the whole time, yeah. And I didn't ask any of them.
Oh.
But that would be a good one to.
So what happened? What
up.
Sort of opened your eyes to this group? We call ourselves Christian Anarchy Today, And this is all built upon Steve and I's idea that, look, there's nobody who gets to insert themselves between us and Jesus. That's all. Arche in the Greek is the primary source. A Christian arche is someone who says there's no arche except Christ. There's no authority, there's no religious authority, there's no pastors, anybody who can tell me anything what to do, because Christ is our God and King. But Steve has discovered there's a group called Christian Anarchy.
Just Christian anarchists. I mean,
Christian anarchists.
It's just anyone that says Christian anarchist could be either of the two.
How do we clear this up?
I don't know. It's confusing. But I think also, you know, when I made this is a Facebook group for you that you don't know. It was called Christian Anarchists, and I just happened to see on there that they weren't talking about the Christianarchy that I thought that it was about the whole time. So, but yeah, they. I don't know where I was going with that. What were you saying?
So they automatically inserted themselves as a primary go-to because they set some rules down, didn't they?
Oh yeah, right. Really quick before we get into that, what I was going to say is I had made a comment on there and somebody told me to read Tolstoy, and that's a lot of them are citing Tolstoy's book. I think it's The Kingdom of God is within you. Yeah. And as far as I could tell, I haven't read the whole thing yet, but as far as I can tell, he's talking about being an anarchist, you know, fully in your life and everything, not talking about this same thing necessarily. Yeah. So I guess it's just some people are more like that, and and it also, futurism and preterism may play a role in that, which
plays a huge role.
So
what happened, what was the announcement that was on the Christian Anarchy site on Facebook that made you say, wait a minute?
Yeah, it was confusing. They, there's this group, and they said anybody that's an anarcho-capitalist has to get out of this group, because it's a communist group, I guess, an anarcho-communist group. So, and there were all kinds of people on there that said, wait, I still want to be a part of this group, but I like capitalism, so what's the problem? And then the head of this group was kicking everyone out left and right, like, get out of here. I'll give you the chance to leave on your own, but otherwise I'm kicking you out. And it's just funny because it was an anarchist group on Facebook, and this guy's saying he's an anarchist. Meanwhile, he's kicking everyone out and saying that he's the authority in that group there. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, it was just weird that they were talking about anarcho-capitalists and anarcho-communism, which are all political anarchist things. So, and as far as I'm concerned, whether or not you're a communist or capitalist or whatever, in a political sense, doesn't really matter as far as Christ is concerned, I don't think.
I don't either.
And they were all saying that communism is consistent with Christianity, and that's the only way to do it.
Oh, and capitalism's not.
And capitalism's not. So it was just kind of weird.
So they shut the door right there on. Have they kicked you out?
No, I'll probably post this video. I'm going to post this video on there.
You're being a capitalist wolf in communist sheep's clothing.
That's right. That's right.
Stay in there, see how it works. So I really don't have a care. I think that anybody who's a communist can be a communist. If you want to be a capitalist, I'm a little bit of a mixture. I'm more of a social communist, and I'm more of a fiscal capitalist. I think fiscally. No, I think fiscally. Although they don't work. I know they don't work.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But I think people should work and earn a wage, and you can grow in that. I have no problem with free enterprise, right? So,
again, it doesn't matter as a Christian.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't, but
the fly matters.
The fly's a communist. So, yeah.
So, to the audience, let's wrap it up. Our show's short. In college, it's really interesting because parents, they bring their kids up to think a certain thing, and college is the time when the kids say, I'm rebelling against that thing. So if you're a smart parent, you're not going to raise your kid to be this flag-bearing Christian, because when they hit college, they rebel against it.
Right.
So what would you say about someone who is talking just about the concepts of Christian anarchy and being a Christian and being a capitalist and being a communist or being a socialist? Do those things mix, or what is your position? What do you say?
My position is, this is what I told those people, and this is what I say whenever that comes up, is just they're two separate kingdoms, completely. So what you do in this earthly kingdom is up to you, and as far as I'm concerned, Christ's kingdom is spiritual, and that's what he he said all throughout that he had a spiritual kingdom, and just focus on that kingdom with your Christianity. You know, focus on that. But as far as your earthly kingdom here, it's not a big deal, I don't believe, you know, what you want to do with it.
So when some stick-in-the-mud Christians say, you have to be a Republican to be a Christian, you have to be a capitalist to be a Christian, that's just old school thinking.
Right. Well, you can just point out all the things counter to Christ that any of those groups do, which they all do. It's very simple. And they have no scriptural basis to say that. So I think it's just their team.
Really quickly, I was on Facebook today, and someone asked the question, was Dietrich Bonhoeffer correct when he tried to assassinate Hitler? And everybody on there is just, yes, 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 he was in Christ's name. In fact, Christians dropped the ball in letting Hitler take office in the first place. I was the only one saying, no, 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 you got it wrong.
When you're saying that you should be killing someone because you're a Christian, kill someone in Christ's name, I think you had a few steps too far there.
You got something a little wrong here.
Just take a step back and think, all right, what led me here? This isn't quite right. So, I would say no.
Steve, your music has made the show. Thank you for a full year of jammin' tunes and for your thoughts on ChristiAnarchy today.
Anytime.
Out! Bravo, brother.